Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. This podcast exists because we want you to win, and you're going to need leverage if you're going to win. You're going to have to bring something to the table. You're going to have to bring an audience. You're going to have to bring business. You're going to have to bring songwriting skills, good demos, professionalism. What is leverage? It's a strategic advantage. It's the power to act effectively. And that's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B. C.L.I.M.B. stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Business. And that was produced by my good friend and hit songwriter, ultimate lyricist, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent has won many awards as a hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And what I love about Brent is he helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how to write like a pro, do biz like a pro, and not only that, he connects you with the pros so you can get a shot and see where you're at. You can reach Brent very easily at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns the Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound, and they help you grow your audience so you can become the artist that everybody loves, so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, and there is no S because there is no other Johnny D.
Thank you, sir. What's going on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm just ready to get rocking on this one. Share some value while it's still timely, while it's still fresh out of the oven.
There we go. And I like we're back in the same room again.
We're in the same room. That's right.
Working. So,
you have a pretty shirt on, Johnny.
Thank you. I worked hard on it.
Yes.
So what are we gonna? Hey, before we get started here, why don't you tell us what we're gonna learn, and then we'll take care of a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give you the little appetizer.
Yeah.
So. Basically, imagine yourself in a darkened movie theater. The movie starts to play, but there's just sound, no picture. Would that make you happy, Johnny?
No.
All right. You're like, where are the pictures? Then why do we write songs that way? So that's the stinger.
Boom. Okay. So listen, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B. community yet, do so. Go to Facebook, search for the C.L.I.M.B. community, ask to be let in. We let everybody in, but if you're bad boys and girls and you try to vomit stuff all over the place where you're not supposed to do that, you will be roadhoused. We just had to talk about that this morning.
Yep.
Make sure that you share the information if you like it. If it's valuable to you, then you've got friends, other songwriters, other band members that are going to benefit from this, other artists that are in your community. Turn them on to it. Subscribe to it. Subscribe, so that every Tuesday when the show comes out and every Friday when the minisodes come out, they go right into your phone, and you don't have to wait for the marketing or anything like that. You can just get it right there and chomp it up, eat that for breakfast.
That's right.
And I think that's all I had to say about that.
That is not all we have to say. The C.L.I.M.B. Conference.
C.L.I.M.B. Conference.
That's right. It's coming up the weekend of May 5th, so May 4th and 5th in Salt Lake City, Utah. We will be going out there with Chris Oglesby from BMG Music. He's a publisher extraordinaire. And Shelby Kennedy runs the National Office of TuneCore, digital distributors. And so we'll be talking about the new music business, music publishing, songwriting, music marketing, all kinds of stuff over that 2-day weekend. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be chances for people to perform, to actually play your music for these people in the industry. Yep. Johnny and I'll be there. We might even be recording an episode live. We'll see. Maybe.
Little teaser.
Maybe. And just going to drop a lot of value. There's going to be a chance we have the schedule set up. There's going to be a chance for you to be in the room with each of the pros in a small group. So this is not going to be a big, it's going to be a big event, but you're not going to be a nameless face. You're going to have a chance to have some structured times, small
and develop
group.
Develop
relationships. Like, I was in that room with you for an hour, you and only like maybe 10 other people or something, and here's our chance to get to know each other. So I think it's going to be really cool. So to get all the details, go to theclimbconference.com. That is theclimbconference.com. And it's coming up very shortly.
Very short. We're going to go spend Cinco de Mayo.
At
4,400 feet in Utah.
Exactly.
It's going to get high in Utah.
There we go.
Well, so let's get into some songwriting.
Let's get into this.
Stuff. Let's get into the pictures.
So what we talked about earlier is just, you're in the theater. you're waiting for Avengers Infinity War to drop, and then all of a sudden you hear, Iron Man talking, but you can hear the zzz, zzz of the helmet going up and down. You hear pew pew pew, and you don't see anything, right? I'm like, I came to see Thanos kick some butt. What happened?
Yeah.
And you don't see, you just hear the sound. So a lot of times, writers, people be walking out of the theater demanding their money back. But a lot of times, songwriters, we write songs the same way. We don't give our listeners pictures right at the beginning of our movie/song. After all, but the hit writers, we know how important this is, and we do it consistently. And I think that's something we need to think about. Think in terms of like movies, cinematics when we write, to give the listener something they can look at in their mind's eye and not just process intellectually. And I think the movie analogy is an appropriate one for songwriting, because songs are basically 3-minute movies. And a lot of songs, especially like country songs, I know your mileage will vary depending on your genre, but definitely like in the country world, and I think even in other genres, if you give metaphorical imagery, and we'll talk about that, it's great to give your listeners something they can see. So just like someone walking into a movie, we want to hook our audience immediately. The movie makers want to do this. We want to do this as songwriters. We want to hook them right off the bat. So we want to draw them into the story as quickly as possible. And you know what does that really well? Is imagery, right?
Paint that picture.
Paint the picture. I mean, you're talking about, like a famous first scene or whatever. Something happens immediately, like James Bond. Does it open up with him, walking into, Q's office and he's throwing his hat and flirting with Moneypenny and,
no.
Like, here's your new gadget? No, it starts off with him in the middle of some situation. He's like tied to a rocket.
That's right.
And he's got to go save the day.
That's Wile E. Coyote.
With roller skates on. And, an Acme bomb's about to go off. So, but, like to drop you in the middle of some sort of,
he's right in the middle
exciting,
of it.
Whoa, and a lot of movies do. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just did this. They had the big fight scene, and all this stuff. And why? Because they want to drop you in something that's exciting going on right now, and it's not a bunch of like lead up. And songwriting, the way to do that is you drop somebody in with some it doesn't have to be like the middle of an action scene, but intriguing imagery, something to pull them right into. Go, I want to know what happens next, or I want to know what happened before. So. You look like you want to say something. And I know that because we're in the same room.
I do. Well, here's the thing. Like, have you ever seen those memory experts? And we did a podcast on this before where I gave like those sort of networking hacks. But the memory experts who will do they tour all over the world and they do these speeches and they always like wow the audience because they're going to pick 100 things, random things that people tell them from the audience. So it's not like he hasn't memorized it before, like and then he puts them in order and then he remembers them, and at the end of the speech he vomits them back out again, like 1, 2, 3 in a row, and it's like amazing, right? The way that they do this is with imagery. They create pictures and these little movies in their head. They could be weird movies. Like, I walked into a front door with a huge 20-foot door and a marble staircase, and there's a unicorn hanging from the ceiling, and there's a mule tending bar. And, and it could be like the weirdest, like dream-like kind of images, but they turn them into images. That's how they remember them. So, hey, note to self, knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
You want your songs to be memorable?
Yes, I do.
Then you got to paint the picture.
Exactly.
It can't be vague.
Exactly. It's because you hit the listener in more than one sense. You give them something to see, something to witness. Because a lot of people, they remember and they learn visually. So if you put a picture in their head, not only is it fun, kind of, I like to think of it as mind control. I'm making you picture this thing. No, but you put a picture in their head and it helps them remember it versus, maybe tell them about something, a conceptually or emotional thing that you want them to remember. It's like, I remember that song. It was about the sad guy. Yeah. Or
because it was called
Sad Guy.
Sad Guy.
Right. Not so much.
Something stupid. Yeah.
Right. So the good thing is, like, well-written imagery quickly lets the listener know the setting for our story, or gives them a sudden, like, emotional punch, like the James Bond.
Yep.
Open. We're like, boom, boom, stuff's blowing up, and he's on a water. He's skiing down a hill.
What's he doing in there? His job.
Right. Exactly. Or it builds mystery and interest, like you open up like halfway through the movie, and the ticking time bomb's going up and the hero's tied up, and you're like, then it's like, boom.
Like the MacGyver package.
6 weeks before. You're like, oh no, what are we going to get to? It immediately hooks you this thing, and you want to find out what happened. So along with good melody and good production, because I don't want to slight that those matter if you want to have a hit, that's going to keep your listener listening further into the song. And here's a big takeaway. The main job of your song's first line is to make the listener want to hear the second line.
Yep.
That's, you want it to be on target and on task and to build everything, because we only have like 3 minutes. But that's a big job of your first line, just to make them want to listen to the second line.
Yep.
So I'm going to share with you a few first lines of some of my songs that have been recorded. So it's like, okay, see?
I got my favorite first line.
So this is some of mine.
Of yours.
Of mine that have been cut, okay?
I'm talking about my favorite first line of yours.
Oh, your favorite. Oh, well, okay, what's yours?
I can tell you're not asleep. I can tell by the way you breathe you're not asleep, or I tell you're not asleep by the way you breathe.
Obviously your favorite.
It's been a while since I heard the song.
Yeah, me too. I can... Girl, I know the way you breathe, so I can tell you're not asleep right now.
That's it.
Yeah.
I know the way you breathe, so I can tell you're not asleep right now.
Right now.
And right off the bat, there's conflict.
Right.
Because you've been in that moment, and just put yourself right in the picture.
Well,
and you're picturing,
because you've been in that scene.
Yeah.
Right. If you've been in that scene, you go, oh.
You picture your room, you picture your girl.
Right. But also you're picturing, the breathing.
Yeah.
That it's a way of saying the breathing, and then he gives you context of what that means. Like, she's not really asleep.
Yeah.
She's acting like she's not really asleep. That's a song called Let's Fight. Another one, You Left Your Bible on the Dresser, so I Put It in the Drawer. Monday Morning Church, sung by Alan Jackson. Mm-hmm. So another one, Sunday Morning Was a Fight. I Was Running from That Clip-On Tie. Every Head Bowed, sung by Randy Travis. So you can see this stuff. Sunday morning, I was running from a clip-on tie. Click, Another one, Crickets, sung by Joe Nichols. The first line was, Past the cotton fields and the old spring mill, we laid a blanket out where the world was still. So you see that. You see the setting. Mm-hmm. Had a cut by Lady Antebellum called Last Night Last. There's a towel on the bathroom door, a T-shirt in my dresser if you like. So you see the towel, bathroom door, and a T-shirt, dresser. But you don't have to just take my lyrics for it, right? So I went through the recent top 10 songs on Billboard's Country Airplay chart.
Okay.
So these are like in the top 10. So not just songs of mine that have been cut. Top 10. So I'm proving, the point is, I want to prove to you, pros know this. They use this.
Yeah.
We should pay attention to this.
This is real.
Okay, so, and by the time you hear this, the top 10 is going to be a little bit different. But
you'll know the song really well.
You probably know the songs, right?
If you're listening to country.
If you're listening to country, right. Okay, so I believe kids ought to stay kids as long as they can. Turn off the screen, go climb a tree, get dirt on their hands. Most people are good. Luke Bryan. So you get, you see the screen, tree, dirt on the hands, see that stuff. I Ain't Heard You Laugh Like That in a Long Time. Singles You Up by Jordan Davis. Was that number 2? Now it's just hit number 1, I think.
Okay.
So you see somebody laughing, you get that picture in your mind's eye. Baby, Lay On Back and Relax, Kick Your Pretty Feet Up on the Dash. BB Rex and Florida Georgia Line from, what's that song? Let It Be, I think. Or what?
BB Rex is doing country now?
She got the number 3 with Florida Georgia Line.
Go, girl.
Yeah. And she put Pretty Feet on the Dash. That's a subject for another day.
Talked about
but
that.
You're not them. Don't take the wrong lesson from this. But the lesson take is they put an image in it, even if it is cliche. All right, the next one. She wants to get married. She wants it perfect. She wants her granddaddy preaching the service. What do you see there?
Yeah.
You see a wedding with a granddaddy up there, and that's Marry Me by Thomas Rhett. Don't think I've ever seen your kind of pretty wandering around this midnight madhouse city. And this is The Long Way, sung by Brett Eldredge. So you see a pretty girl wandering around like what kind of looks like a crazy city, night, and because it's midnight.
It's almost almost a little dark.
It's almost a little dark, a little dreamlike.
Like it just rained. Like the streets are wet.
It is. Yeah, and it's like I see pops of neon and just people and stuff. Yeah, but I see something. It's like, ooh, that's an interesting way of saying it too. Like a rainy Sunday morning makes me want to stay in bed, twisted up all day long. You Make It Easy, sung by Jason Aldean. So, rainy morning, bed, twisted sheets, boom, I'm in. I see it. This Is Perfect, Come Kiss Me One More Time, Heaven, sung by Kane Brown. So you see somebody leaning in to get a kiss or another kiss. When the devil's knocking at my door, when I'm broken and battle worn, down in the valley on my knees. That's from She's With Me by High Valley. So you might see like a door. You may see somebody kind of broken, like armor or soldier kind of thing, but you see like a valley, or definitely see somebody on their knees, like prayer or in defeat.
That's what I
So you see that. Yeah. So there's some image right at the beginning. And we're almost through this. Seen my share of broken halos, folded wings that used to fly. Broken Halo by Chris Stapleton. So you see halos, you see broken halos, you see either angel's wings, or you see a bird, you see some sort of image that's starting to pull you in. Now, interesting, the song, so that's 9 out of the top 10. I'm just going in order from 1 through 10 on the chart at that time. Interestingly, the song in the 10 spot, All On Me by Devin Dawson, doesn't have an image in the first couple lines, but all the rest of these songs do. So that's 90% of the current top 10.
Right.
That's something we should pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like 9 out of 10 of the top 10 country singles have an imagery in their first line. Like 9 out of the top 10.
Well, I'm curious, what's the first line of the 10th one?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's some emotional thing, and maybe that, but that song is groove, it's feel, and he wrote it and himself, and it's melody and that kind of stuff too. So it has some of the other stuff going for it, but and that's the point. I don't remember. So there's a lesson there too. But I remember hearing the song and it sounds cool. So
don't be the artist or the songwriter that's like, well, I'm just going to write it this way, and they're going to like it or they're not going to like it, and be in the 10%.
Yeah, I'm aiming for
be
that.
in the 90%.
I'm aiming for the 10%. Knock. You're not putting yourself in the position to win. Like, if you got 2 boats that are attacking the beach. One boat, they're like, okay, 90% of you are going to die. And you got another boat that's like, like 20% of you are going to die. What boat do you want to be on when you're storming the beach? Because really, I mean, and we do nothing nearly as difficult as soldiers do. But I think of the metaphor of our songs are metaphorically storming the beach at Normandy. And A&R people and artists and publishers are just just mowing down these songs. They're like, I'm going to be a hit. I'm hit. I want to be a hit, but I'm hit. And just pop, and just mowing down, just mass carnage.
I'm going to be a hit. Wait, I'm hit. That's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant. Cut. I'm cut. You're cut. Congratulations. No, I fell on
bleeding
barbed wire.
very badly.
Right. It is just like mass casualties, just mowing down song after song. And it's like, what can I do to put the odds a little more in my favor, to make myself a little more bulletproof so I have a chance of crossing the beach? Because most won't. And these are songs that are reaching the very, very pinnacle of, country music at the moment. They're in the top 10. They're making money. So this is something we need to pay attention to. And a couple things I want to tease out of this is that not all the images are literal. Okay, so I mean, so even if you're pop, you're rock, you're like, I don't want to just sit down and tell a story that's boring. Fine, whatever. Some of these are metaphorical images, like She's With Me and Broken Halos. Both those are like metaphorical images. Like, so you have the Seen My Share of Broken Halos, folded wings that used to fly. Not literally.
Right.
And the back on, where was it? When the devil's knocking on my door, when I'm broken and battle worn, down in the valley on my knees. That's metaphorical.
Yeah.
High Valley's not literally got the devil at the door.
Right.
What else? But even like the a simile, like Jason Aldean in You Make It Easy. Like a rainy Sunday morning makes me want to stay in bed, twisting up all day long. So he's not saying it's rainy this Sunday morning and I want to stay in bed.
Yeah.
No, it's like that. So you're making a picture that is a concrete picture. Like you have metaphorical pictures like broken halos or the devil knocking on your door. So I can see that, but it's not literal. Rain, Sunday morning, want to stay in bed all twisted up. That's a concrete image, but he doesn't mean it literally. That's not literally what's going on. He's using that to say that's what you're like.
Right.
Like this literal thing.
Right.
You make me, you make it easy, blah, blah, blah. So there are different ways to incorporate images into your song. That doesn't have to be you paint it exactly like it is, what's going on, because that may not be your genre. It may just be boring to you. And it opens up the box a lot more on what you can say, because you can use simile, metaphor, or just straight up tell what happened in imagery. Convinced yet? Or you want to hear a couple more samples?
No, bring it to me.
All right, so these are from a little further back, just because we can do this for days. American Kids, Kenny Chesney. Double wide, quick stop, midnight, T-top jacket, or Cherry Coke Town. So many images.
You're like, whoa. Love that song, man.
Yeah. Quarter in a payphone, clothes drying on the line. Automatic, sung by Miranda Lambert. Also like Song of the Year. I mean, won a lot of awards. Big song for her. Starts off, quarter in a payphone. I see it. Clothes drying on the line. I see it. And it also speaks to the theme of what she's talking about in that song. Blake Shelton has a song. First time I heard it, I was just so mad that I did not come up with this hook. But the first line is, those high heels and that sundress, turquoise heart hanging around your neck. The song is My Eyes, Blake Shelton. And the hook on that is, my eyes are the only thing I don't want to take off of you.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang it! Sidebar, that's so perfect!
Yeah.
So good. Like, you had that hook, just don't screw it up.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They started with an image. We Are Tonight by Billy Curtin. Summer coming through a rolled down window, tearing down an almost 2-lane back road. I love it's not almost 2-lane
back road.
And summer coming through the window.
Yeah.
You know, so you use windows coming down.
We had that just like 2 days ago. Summer coming through the window, and now it's
roll
snowing.
that sucker back up. It's like the winter's like that monster in the movie that just won't die. You think it's dead and just sits back up. Winter. Okay, a couple more here. Sun shines, clouds rain, train whistles blow, and guitars play. Couple images there. It just comes natural, George Strait. So if George can do it, you can do it.
That's right.
Let's see. Driving through town, just my boy and me, with a Happy Meal in his booster seat. Watching You by Rodney Atkins. Huge hit for Rodney. So you see him driving through town, his boy, Happy Meal, booster seat. So much imagery. I Can Take the Rain on the Roof of This Empty House. What Hurts the Most? Rascal Flatts. Huge hit for them. Here's another number one. She's a yellow pair of running shoes, a holy pair of jeans. She's everything, Brad Paisley.
Yeah.
Am I making my point? Like, especially if you want to be a country writer, hook them right off the bat with some sort of image. And these aren't all like, oh my gosh, that was, The Last Camel Died at Noon. Wasn't that from that, was it like Lawrence of Arabia or some, great book? It's like, it didn't have to be that. It can just be, she's a yellow pair of running shoes, a holy pair of jeans. Like, and the she's, it's a little intriguing. Like, okay, I'm starting to see this picture. It doesn't all have to be the most incredible. Quarter on a payphone, clothes drying on the line. It just paints a picture, so I'm getting in. It's not like it's a, oh my goodness, incredible line, but it's perfect for what they need. It's
put the furniture.
And now
in
I'm
there.
starting to see these pictures, and I want to hear the second line.
Yeah.
So. Just so many. I mean, I could do this for days.
Yeah, from a producer perspective, and you're looking for outside cuts. I mean, there's songs where, because you're going to do the A&R shuffle, right? Which is like you listen to the first verse and the first chorus, and you're just trying to determine, like, is this even in the brand that we want? Like, is this where we're headed?
Yeah.
But the real good songs are the ones where the imagery's so good and the story's so good that you can't wait to hear what the second verse is going to sound like.
Yeah.
So you're going to listen.
You want to know what happens next.
You want to know what happens next.
Yeah,
like,
if it's
that
great,
doesn't,
even if it's not quite on brand, you're still like, I just want to know what happens.
Yeah.
And that's a valuable place to be. I mean, of course, you'd rather be on brand, but even if it's not quite on brand, but it's just
which has
compelling.
happened a bunch of times where this artist isn't going to record this, but I want to hear what he says next, because that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, that's a win.
And certainly if I'm a publisher, I'm not, but if I was a publisher, that's the reaction you want me to have.
Oh,
because then you're like, okay, all right, we got something going on here. This is good.
It's compelling. It's drawing me in. I want to hear more.
And we were talking about, when we were at breakfast with Oglesby and
Shelby
and Shelby Kennedy and Chelsea, we were talking about like events like this, and Chris was like, he brought up something that sort of rang my bell a little bit. He's like, I don't necessarily I'm not really expecting to find like the hit song right here, as much as I'm wanting to find a hit songwriter.
Yes.
So many people are kind of like, they're looking to make this this song or not make, like he's going to do it or not do it with this song. But it's like they're looking for potential. They're looking for like, okay, this is somebody who knows how to put some words together, knows how to create some imagery, that knows how to make me want to listen to more.
Right. They have something to say.
Yeah, they got something to say, and when you and they know how to say it, and they're not just boring and cliche. Like when you do that, then it might not even be the song, but it's going to be enough to get them to say, you know what, like we need to talk.
Exactly. Yeah, and that, because the one thing more valuable to a publisher than a hit song is a hit songwriter.
Yeah.
That is what they're looking for, because that's not just a golden egg. That's great if they stumble across a golden egg on an Easter egg.
That's the goose.
That's the goose, and they want the goose because the goose is repeatable.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like if you're a coach that, you know, you got the kid that, oh my gosh, he has a cannon for an arm.
Yeah.
Now we just got to tell him where the receiver's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, good, I will help him learn the route tree and where, you know, where the openings are going to be, where he needs to fire that ball.
Yeah.
But he can get it there.
Yeah.
I need a guy that can get it there. Or even if he's got a live arm but he's kind of wild, okay, we can work on your mechanics.
Yeah.
We can put you with coaches, put you with other riders. But give me a guy with a live arm and we can work with that. You know, if he can learn
we can refine that.
Yeah, we can refine that and tell you what holes you need to put it in, where the receiver's going to be open, the defense ain't going to knock it down. That's, you know, publisher's job.
What are some, like off the top of your head, what are a couple things that like a songwriter can do to kind of swing the pendulum back even too far the other way and just like really just start crazy imaging, right? Just
like
to get out of the vague, typical beginner songwriter stuff.
Oh, it's good. So, like, what's an exercise to help build that muscle to start changing the way they think?
Yeah.
Man, it's diving. It's a diving exercise. I mean, I guess probably the first time I heard about it was a book by Pat Pattison called Writing Better Lyrics. I think he talked about it. And I've done it a bunch, but you just pick a topic. So, I don't know, office building, couch, train station, parking lot, whatever it is, some sort of noun, right? And then you just fill up a page, or he suggests doing like a 10-minute timer first thing in the morning. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, and you just write and you just brainstorm, but it's all sensory images. No emotions allowed, no conceptual stuff allowed. All solid concrete images. So like sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, and your internal feelings as well, like your heartbeat, your, you know, my face turned blush, that kind of stuff.
And so you would describe like the couch,
right? You'd be like you know,
like deep Corinthian leather.
Yeah, or smells like cigarettes. You know, has, you know, 45 cents in change in the, you know, beneath the cushions, and along with old popcorn kernels, and you know, putting your arm around the girl on the couch. You know, she's sitting there, she's watching the TV, she's not watching you. You know, and you're like, dang it, look over at me so I can lean in for a kiss. You know, or you know, some of that. So you know, how the light reflects. You know, how the light reflects from the TV onto the couch. You know, the dog won't move from his spot. You know, you can tell where my dad always sits because there's a dent on that side of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and you just go down that,
and you're not worried about making lyrics. You're not worried about rhyming. Man. You're not worried.
Now you make me want to do that.
And you're just filling it up on this couch. Weighs a ton. You know, whatever.
Got that when you pull out the bed, it's got that bar that's right in your back.
Yeah, and when the springs pop down, bang. Yeah, and just all images. So sight, smell, taste, touch, feeling. You know, how does it feel? It's too short for me to really stretch out on when I need to sleep when my wife's mad at me, or it's so comfortable, you know, that she and I get to hang out together, laying down with my arm around her, watching a movie.
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of memories about couches. There's some good songs about couches too.
Yeah.
So. So doing that as an exercise on a regular basis, because you're not worried about trying to write the line. You're not trying to write the song. It's an exercise, and you're chopping firewood basically. You're just building those muscles, learning to think, and then you get good at that. Then you start going, okay, what's an emotion, and what does that look like? I call it willpower. WILL power. What's it look like? Power. You know, I like some acronyms.
Yeah, I know you do, Mr. C.L.I.M.B.
And so you will say what's an emotion. Anger. Now you put that at the top of the page. And now you fill that up with sensory images. Mm-hmm. Show me what that looks like. Red face, pulse pounding, clenched fist, white knuckles, hole in a hole in a drywall about the size of a fist.
Ghosting.
Ghosting
somebody on the
unfriending,
phone.
Just all stuff you can see, the yell of anger, the cursing, the silent stare of death,
right.
And then you start saying, what does this look like? What does this look like? Now when I want to say somebody's angry, what's great about this stuff too is if you put it in a place where you can refer to it later, then you're like, okay, I'm writing a song about a couch, or there's a scene in my song about a couch. Wait, I did one of those diving exercises. Let me go find it. Oh, now I got all this cool stuff. I wonder if, oh my gosh, there's that one thing, that line that will work perfectly here, this thought.
Right.
That I thought of it a year ago. I don't have to come up with it on the spot because now I have this repository of all these images that, for these different topics and stuff that may be helpful in my writing. Or I'm writing a song about somebody that's angry. How am I going to paint, that anger?
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to go back to this, and here it is. So that's a way to just practice that and learning to think in images. And you can do metaphorical images and stuff there too. It doesn't have to be just literal images, but so good question and some good exercises for folks.
Right on.
I have one more for you.
Okay.
We'll wrap this up. 89 cents in the ashtray. Half-empty bottle of Gatorade rolling on the floorboard.
I drive your truck.
I drive your truck. Right.
89. It's a specific amount of money.
It is. 89 cents on the ashtray, half-empty bottle of Gatorade rolling on the floorboard. So, I Drive Your Truck, written by Jesse Alexander, Connie Harrington, and Jimmy Yeary, recorded by Lee Brice, was an ACM and CMA Song of the Year. Huge hit. And we talked about it recently as far as making your ballads big. We talked about that song. It's like the opening shot of a movie, right? So it starts with the close-up of the change in the ashtray. You see this 89 cents. And then the camera pans over to the Gatorade rolling around the floorboard.
And you can tell, because it's rolling around, you can tell that
it's moving.
The truck is moving.
It's moving, right. You can hear, in a movie, you'd hear the rattle, and you'd hear the engine and stuff.
Yep.
And then, the camera, if you know that song, the camera we follow it as it moves over the dash to the back seat. The Go Army shirt folded in the back and the cowboy boots and all this. It pulls us into the scene. If that were the opening scene of a movie, we'd be like, well, we haven't seen the driver yet. What's going on?
Yeah.
And it's drawing you in. And it gives us clues about the truck's owner. Dog tags hanging from the rear view, Go Army shirt. You're like, okay, there's a military guy, this truck and stuff. It's not just a well-written song. It's like a well-written movie.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes.
Within 3 minutes.
It's great. Yeah. So... that I use that song so much in my teaching and stuff. It's sick. It's so good on so many levels. Yeah. It's concrete. It's very emotional. It pulls you in like a movie. It's got all this stuff.
So before we wrap up, I got to say one thing.
Yes.
So we cut your song, "Let's Fight."
Yes.
With Jason
Ashley.
And I remember the night specifically when we needed an outside cut. Mm-hmm. And so we had a CD put together, prepared for him. He's from Texas, and he was in town. And we had a couple cocktails at the studio, and sort of, I think we did a bunch of pre-production for the songs that he wrote, because he's a hell of a songwriter. And then we're like, all right, let's go downtown and listen to some of these songs, Mm-hmm. And so we head downtown. We found a parking spot back in the day on Second, when you could find a parking spot on Second. And it wasn't $50 or whatever.
Yeah.
But right on Second Avenue with where the meter is,
Yeah.
And we pull in and we get to "Let's Fight." And it kicks in, and the first two lines of the song.
And he didn't want to hear it, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to hear it. He's like, no, because we were tired. I mean, we've been working all day. He's like, no, man, I really don't want. We're like, just wait. We got one more for you. And that was the last one. We got one more for you. Just check this out. And yeah, he was exhausted,
Yeah.
And we were too. Everybody was in brain drain. Like, we were done. Like, let's go drink,
Yeah.
And we played the first two lines of the song. We didn't even get to the chorus. And he's like, stop. We're going to cut that tomorrow. He's like, are you kidding me? And we're like, dude, wait till the chorus comes in. Like, And then when we listened to the whole song, but he was like, that was, when you can cut through that.
Yeah.
With
that was just
imagery.
that image. Girl, I know the way you breathe, so I can tell you're not asleep right now.
I mean, it took the breath right out of him.
Yeah.
It took the breath right out of him. You know why? Because he's been there.
He's been there, yeah.
He's been there many times.
I couldn't have written that song before I was married.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. So that was the deal. I mean, that's the kind of impact that we're talking about that you gotta have. You know?
Yeah, and that image you put them in a real place, a memory or something that's very real and that's going to connect.
That's right.
Because you know what it does? It bypasses all the intellect and goes right to the heart. With those images, it's worth 1,000 words. You could be like, I know you're ticked off at me. Yeah. Nah, so what? You paint that picture right off the bat. They go, oh, I'm there again. I've been there.
And then they're painting in, and that's how the good stories work, right? That's how the good story branding works. That's why the most ridiculous blockbuster movie in the summer that could never ever happen, right?
Yeah,
really works. Even with, mind you, like you're sitting here talking about as a story brander, you're sitting here talking about I Drive Your Truck, because you can't help but get sucked into it.
Yeah.
So the guys who write like the blockbuster hit movies they can't help but get sucked into those stories, because what happens is when you do it like that, you get. It's inevitable. Like you put yourself into that role, and so you're just immediately the imagery comes in. You see your room, you see your girl, and you remember that fight.
Yeah. And if you haven't been there, hopefully you're just seeing an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't personally lived it, you're just like, well, I don't have to provide all the context, because if you haven't lived that, you don't have that context to provide.
Yeah.
If there's no imagery, you're just like, I just haven't been there.
Yeah.
But if you paint it with compelling imagery, they don't have to provide all their own context. They can, like Jason did. He provided his own extra context, which made it even more powerful.
Started filling in the blanks, yeah.
Right. But there's enough there that even if you haven't been there, you still know what's going on, and it's still hopefully compelling and moves you.
You can get it.
That you could not have gotten there if it was just emotional and you had to provide all your own context if you haven't lived it.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's like a balance of both. More powerful if you've lived it, but hopefully still interesting and compelling even if you haven't.
That's killer.
But, hey, guys, I know a lot of people listening want to write commercial songs. They want to get cuts. They want to get songs just like we've talked about that are in the top 10.
Or just write better songs for themselves.
Just write better songs.
Maybe they're not.
Or their audience. Like, I want my audience to turn around at the bar and pay attention.
I'm interested in pursuing excellence.
Oh, that's
if I'm going to do
worthy
this,
pursuit.
I want to be the best.
I want to be great. Yeah. I want to let y'all know about something I have coming up. In May, I'm hosting Freddie's Know the Row with. So it's a series we do every quarter with one of the writers of I Drive Your Truck, Jimmy Yeary. So not only did Jimmy write, this song of the year, right? I Drive Your Truck. He's written hits for Kenny Chesney, Jake Owen, Rascal Flatts, and more. So he's like legit multi-hit songwriter, had multiple number ones. And we're going to sit down with Jimmy online, video conference. So you can join us from anywhere in the world, and he can see your face, and you can ask him your questions. It's coming up in May. The best part is it's free for members of Freddie, and that's FRETTIE. It's a membership community that I shepherd. But you can also, if you don't want to join up, you can just pay a ticket and join us, and it's still definitely worth your time. But it's your chance to sit across the internet from a hit songwriter, hear him tell some stories, provide value, ask him your questions, like how'd you do it, how did this thing happen?
It's a chance to get in touch with the pro.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you're not going to get much more pro than that.
Jimmy's busy.
Yeah.
He's not going to just take your call.
He's not going to take your call.
I'm sorry. He's a great dude, but he's busy.
And you know what? I'll tell you what. Like if you're the kind of songwriter that's ready to sort of spar with somebody like that and ready to be in that league, what a great opportunity, right?
Yeah.
To get to know somebody. If you're a beginning songwriter, man, just real quick, because I know we're running a little long on this, but first thing I did when we signed that regional booking deal that put my first band on tour was I asked them, who's the best band you got?
Yeah.
Because I'm 19 years old. I couldn't even get in the bar, but I'm like, I need to go see where the bar is.
Yeah.
Let's learn where the bar is.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to find out, like, okay, wow, this is crazy cool. Like,
that's how he approaches this?
Yeah.
I don't even think in those terms of...
If I was trying to be a songwriter, I would be on every one of these things.
Yeah.
Like, just listening. Like, just shut up, pay attention,
Right.
and take notes. Like, wow. Because what you're going to learn is you're not going to learn on your couch through osmosis.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, there's stuff that you can't get all that just from the songs that are on the radio.
Yeah.
You need to hear some of the backstory.
The intention behind
it. It's not just like story time with Jimmy. Yeah. It's not just that of him going to regale you with stories about his successes. That's not valuable. It's like, okay, how'd you make this happen? What are the principles that you think behind your success? That kind of stuff. And then open it up for other people's questions so that you can ask them your particular question. And it's all about bringing value. But if you want to find out more about that, of course, you just go to giftfrombrent.com and you can download my free ebook. And also, I'll send you the information on this event coming up with Jimmy. If you're listening in the future, guess what? This event with Jimmy is living in the Freddie Members Area archives. We also have Byron Hill there. We also have Chad Green there. We're going to have more and more in the future and a bunch of other great stuff for Freddie members. So just check it out. Just go to Gift from Brent. And if you've already downloaded it, just watch your email because I'm sending you information on it.
There you go. Yep. All right, guys. That brings us to the end of another killer episode of the C.L.I.M.B. Again, join the C.L.I.M.B. community if you haven't done so already. Ask to be let in. We will let everybody in. We'll roadhouse you if you're obnoxious. I promise you that.
A bear fell on me.
Make sure that you share it. If you like this information and you know somebody that could benefit from it, make sure they're aware of it. Turn them on to it. Push them a little bit. Leave a rating and review. Take a couple seconds to do that for us. It makes us look legit to other people that are just about to stick their toe in the water. And finally, subscribe. And it'll automatically show up on your phone every Tuesday. And don't forget the C.L.I.M.B conference. It's May 5th up in Utah. It's theclimbconference.com for more details on that. But that's with Chris Oglesby from BMG, hit publisher. That is with Shelby Kennedy, who's the president of TuneCore here in Nashville, and that's with Brent and yours truly, Johnny D. This podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.